Oh, well, here we are. Live on air. This is really kind of cool. Good evening, folks. This is Black Dragon. And what we're doing here is interesting. Welcome to my channel, Black Dragon Biker TV. And we are doing for the first time ever a podcast, but this is a live podcast. So if you guys want to hear the podcast, you guys need to go to Spreaker.com, or I'm on all these different platforms, Stitcher and Spreaker, and I'm on iTunes, and look for the Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Chaos. So this is our first show, and we're simulcast, and it's kind of screwed up because I've got some phone stuff, but the phone stuff is not coming through here. So if you guys here want to see me or hear the phone stuff, you're going to have to pick me up on the podcast, which is podcasting live on the Spreaker network. And so this was really supposed to be a podcast tonight, and we're trying to do a little bit of everything. So good evening. We got just all these folks out here. Good evening. Appreciate you all. Angel, Oklahoma City Stunners. We're out late tonight. Hello from LA. And we're a little bit late. All kinds of technical difficulties. It's just always hard to get new stuff running. But it's working. It's all, I'm looking, forgive my eyes for not being in the screen, but we're looking at all my little toys here to make sure all of these screens are working. And I believe that I am live on, let's see, we're on Stitcher, Spreaker. Hey, put your phone on mute, Mike. We're on Spreaker, we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, we're on all these really cool places. The Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Mayhem. And tonight we want to talk about the Mongols Motorcycle Club Nation and what is getting ready to go on with them. And unfortunately for those guys, they didn't do well today in court. So as a result, the jury in California, I'm sure most of you guys have already heard. What's going on in South Carolina? That's North Carolina. I'm sure most of you guys have already heard that the Mongols lost their court case today, and that's kind of a sad thing for them. And we're going to see what's going to happen with them moving forward. But I just got a few things here. We're going to read some stuff and look at some stuff. And I've got my executive producer online on the phone, and his name is Merlin, and his wife, they're riding in their car, Mama Rowe. They're the ones that look after my channel. And if you guys, like I say, if you want to hear what's going on the phone, you need to switch over to the podcast, which is the Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Mayhem, on most of the platforms that are out there. And I'll give you guys a phone number that you can use to call me if you want to, 404-692-0336, and we'll put that out. Some more. Warrior Brotherhood MC, what's up in Seattle? Good to see you guys. What's up Northwest in the house? We've got folks all over the place, which is really cool. Kevin Ferguson from Ireland. Oh, what's going on up there in Ireland? Good to talk to you. Good to see you. It's late for you there. It's what, about 5 or 6 in the morning? I guess it's bright and early for you there. So, California jury orders the Mongols Motorcycle Club to forfeit their logo and trademarks. A federal jury on Friday, 1/11/2019, decided that the mighty Mongols Motorcycle Club Nation should be stripped of their trademarks that they hold on their coveted logo as punishment in the racketeering case. And this, of course, puts a great victory in the hands of the United States attorney, as the government has fought for 10 long years to take away these guys' colors and destroy, in the government's mind, their motorcycle club. So last month, at the end of the month, I had a very lengthy forgive me, I've got a cold I'm trying to get over, but last month, at the end of the month, the lengthy trial was over. A jury in Santa Ana, California, convicted the entire Mongols Motorcycle Club Nation of the same crime. They said that the nation was shared in the fault, shared in the conspiracy, shared in the responsibility, the same as the members that were found guilty and were sent to prison. So the government came back and was able to prove in a court of law that the motorcycle club was benefiting from that crime, and that the motorcycle club was complicit in that crime, and that the motorcycle club itself was an organized criminal activity, guilty of conspiracy and guilty of racketeering and conspiracy to commit racketeering. What's up, Tracy in California? We got King Skrillex, Ghostly Riders. What's up, Tommy Reddington? Good to see you guys. Wow, the numbers are just building right up tonight. So you guys need a life. You guys are up this late. But I'm so glad to have everyone with me. Probably mostly West Coast people, and some poor old fellow that's getting up to go to work or something over there in Ireland. So, unfortunately, the motorcycle club was held with the same level of guilt as the members who had committed the crimes, and the club was found guilty. So this verdict now allowed for the government to swing at taking their patches. And so over this past couple days, the jury had met to hear arguments as to whether or not the colors, the patch itself, was integral, was actually being aided and benefited, and let me see what they're saying here. If the patch itself was what's that word? They use a cool word here. Yes, if there was a tight nexus between the image, the patch itself, and any of the criminal charges. And the court decided, the jury decided, oh, good, I'm glad you're at work listening to me, and I hope that you are on one of the podcasts listening, because I'm live on the podcast. So the jury decided that there was a nexus, and a nexus means that there was a tight link, a close association between the patch and the criminal activity. But it's really kind of weird, because the criminal activity, they didn't say there was a close nexus between the patch and the conspiracy charge. Instead, they said there was a close nexus between the patch. Or let me change that. There was not a close nexus between the patch and the racketeering charge, but there was a close nexus between the patch and the conspiracy to commit racketeering charge. So I don't think that was really a clear indication. Philly Biker East Coast says the federal government has zero right, and he's typing in all caps, so that's yelling in internet speak, has zero right to take their protection under the First Amendment. Well, we'll see. And we will hope that's the case. We'll hope that's the case. But the 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 court or the jury has decided that that this image benefited from this, even though it was kind of weird. Like, I would have thought that they would have chosen the racketeering rather than the conspiracy to commit racketeering as the nexus. So one of two, and they only took one. So that's kind of, how do you read that? It was what kind of a vote was that? Was that some sort of argument and they finally just decided on something? Sometimes juries do that, and that's not a good thing, but that is what has happened. That is what has happened. Forgive me, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold here. So now we're in a situation where the government has said that the trial, the not the government, but rather the jury has said that this is a criminal enterprise guilty of racketeering and conspiracy to commit racketeering, and you can take their cuts. This came out of California. Used to live in California, and those of us here in the South, we're not always on California's side or anything like that. So this is interesting. This is going to be very interesting. And it's not over yet. First of all, Joseph Yanni, the lead chair, counsel, defense attorney for the Mongols, has indicated that, of course, the Mongols will fight, probably all the way to the Supreme Court. So what does that mean in the meantime? Does that mean they get the colors, or do the Mongols keep the colors? And a lot of experts say that there's no way that trademark law will allow you to really take these colors from people. Like, what are you going to do? Walk up to them and hold a gun on them and make them lay on the ground and take their colors from them? And, what are you taking? Because the patch is not the vest, so are you going to cut the patch off? You're going to take T-shirts? What about support clubs that have support patches on? I mean, this just brings up a whole lot of questions, of which I don't know that there are any answers. Someone says America isn't free anymore. And that's really kind of crazy. But that is what it is. Tommy Reddington said, let's start taking their badges from them and see how they like it. And, well, if you take one thing from them, you ain't going to like it. So the government's pursuit against their trademarks. This is a novel thing, and I've talked about this before. They keep saying novel, novel, novel. What do they mean? They mean it ain't been done before. This is a new way of going about getting something from these folks. This is a new way of doing it. It's a new application of law that they ain't never used before, because these laws weren't never meant for that. This was somebody's real kind of cool, quirky kind of way to get them. And that's why a lot of people hate attorneys, because they come up with stuff, But it is what it is. It's happening. It's happening in this day and age. And clubs better know it. Clubs better look at this and know that they tried for 10 years. They used court cases that were over 10 years old to make this happen. They went at it again and again and again and again, and that shows that you can't beat City Hall. And motorcycle clubs better beware. Motorcycle clubs better beware. We got to beware of what's really going on. The days of the 70s and the 80s, they're gone. The days of doing whatever you thought you wanted to do, they're gone. It's just like when they started coming off after the mafia. The good old days were gone. They were sending people to jail forever in 3 days. And someone says you better support your local motorcycle rights organizations. I think those are called like MROs. If you ain't been supporting your MROs, you better get you some. You better get out there and get you some. And get some support out there to your MROs. So for those of you who might just be tuning in, we are on my first live podcast broadcast over on Spreaker, the Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Chaos, brought to you on Mondays and Fridays. And we are on Spreaker, iTunes. Sorry about that. I'm nursing a cold. And this must sound horrible, but I'm fighting hard, people. We're on Spreaker and iTunes, and we're on Stitcher, and oh my goodness, all these platforms. Spotify. We're going to be on iHeartRadio in about a week or so. My SoundCloud, did I say that? Just about iTunes, just about any place you are looking at getting or your podcast, I'm on now. The Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Chaos. So if you want to turn me on the podcast, we certainly would appreciate that. Somebody just sent me $20. I say thank you. I appreciate that. $20 on the super chat from Mr. Ronnie Fortin, who says, "This crap is ridiculous. We the people need to start supporting the clubs and raise hell to our congressmen, our congresswomen, our congresspeople." It's just a thought that someone could tell you to take off a t-shirt or a patch or something to an organization that they have designated a criminal organization. And it's just a thought that something that 1 or 5 or 10 or 15 people do. Or in the case of the Mongols, they indicted 79 people, 77 of which they found guilty. And the whole motorcycle club nation was found guilty too. So everyone who wasn't guilty is now guilty. Somebody, Mr. Perfect says only chicks get to ask me to take my clothes off. Somebody asked you to take your clothes off. Keep your clothes on, man. On this channel, we want everybody to stay dressed. So you better know it. You better know it, folks. You better know that cold winds are blowing. And they ain't just a whistle in Dixie. They are for real out here in the ATL. And they're coming to a motorcycle club near you. So when you think about the Mongols and the things that are going on with them, we have to ask ourselves, what all does this mean? What all are they going to take? What all are they after? I'm curious to know. Are they, and who all is the criminal enterprise? Because I saw some of the paperwork, and the criminal enterprise was interesting. The criminal enterprise was, they said, everybody associated with the Mongols. They were talking about their properties. They were talking about their prospects. They were talking about their members and associates. What's an associate? If we're in the same coalition as the Mongols, are we an associate? Does that make us part of the criminal enterprise? How far or wide reaching is this? I mean, it's an interesting thing. Can I get a phone call in Atlanta? Ring, ring, ring. Yeah, this is Black Dragon. How can I help you? Can I get a call in Atlanta that says, or let me think about it. Let's see. If one of my club members in Atlanta got in a fight with his landlord, him and the landlord started throwing dirt on each other because they were mad because of the placement of a fence. Landlord calls the police. He gets taken to jail. He gets ready to go for a bail hearing. And they say, no bail. He's part of a criminal organization. Well, what the heck are you talking about? I'm in Atlanta. What criminal organization am I a part of? Oh, well, isn't your motorcycle club part of the California Federation of blah, blah, blahs? Well, yeah. And? Well, the Mongols are part of that federation too. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm in Atlanta. Well, aren't all your clubs, are your brothers with all your clubs, aren't you? So you don't get bail because you're part of this wider criminal organization. You don't know, man. This is, boy, how deep can this go? How chilling can it get? And motorcycle clubs better know this. Motorcycle clubs better stop showing your booty out there. Somebody, Ghost Rider says this should be a wake-up call for all MCs, RCs, SCs, etc. This should be a wake-up call to every group in America that might find itself being called subversive at one time or another. Like I remember when only the Black Panthers were called subversive. Back in my day, well, I'm old. So now there's other groups that are being called subversive. Homegrown, all these terms they have. I'm trying to get my voice wet. It's scary. It's absolutely scary. I don't mind criminals going to jail. Criminals who have committed crimes need to go to jail. And, the government is held at a higher standard. You have to play right and play nice and play by the rules. And we expect you to do that even if it's harder to catch criminals. Because the way our law system is supposed to work is that we would rather see 100 guilty men, 100 guilty men, you say guilty men. Guilty men sounds almost like a clan of guys. These are guilty men. These are the guilty men. We would rather see 100 guilty men go free than one innocent man be put in jail. And that has always been the crux. That's why we don't allow a police officer to have sex with a prostitute and then put her in jail. You don't get to be as dirty as we don't allow a police officer to go after a hitman by killing a bunch of people and then, aha, we got you, you're a hitman. Whoa, well, you killed a bunch of people here too. That's why that Fast and Furious thing was absolutely outrageous. You remember that? You guys remember that one? You remember that? What's up? See you there. Guy said, what's up? Drehan. That must be German for dragon or something. Drehan. But he fixed it. But you guys remember that, Fast and Furious, where they decided they would take these guns that they had taken off real live criminals and go sell them, what was it, in Mexico? To see what happens. We want to see what you're not supposed to be able to do. That's crazy. You're going to turn all these guns loose on innocent people. Because, we got to get as dirty as the criminals if we're going to catch them. And that's not what we were doing. Mr. Perfect says they sent the guns to Mexico to track the cartels, supposedly. Well, we're going to let them kill each other, and then what we'll do is see what guns we pick up at the scene. It seems crazy. It seems crazy. But it's okay because they pick someone that we all can easily love to hate. They pick the drug cartels. So all those bad drug cartel people, they behead people and this. Now we should let them kill each other. And we should be complicit in that. Plus, it ain't in our country, so who cares? It's not the way law enforcement is supposed to work, but you hear about it all the time, says Anthony Badger. And Joe says, I think they put tracking devices in them, but they found them and removed them. Oh, the cartels found... All right, so what kind of damn tracking device can you put in a gun? I mean, anyone who's clean an AR-15 or an M16, I mean, there's only so many pieces, like, okay, there's 47, wait a minute, what's this piece here with a wire on it? That's not necessary. You might not even know it's that's not necessary. Who put that in here? Cut it out. They put tracking devices in the guns. A gun, I mean, if you know guns, you're going to find that tracking device just like that. They tracked it to the serial numbers. The trackers were out early. Very interesting. But my point about that was it was just dirty pool. It was just terribly, terribly, terribly done. And we're not supposed to be acting like that. If we believe that there's some guys that are committing crimes, we go after the guys that commit the crimes. But now we have a way to just take out the whole group. I don't know what's going on with this. It's supposed to be over this cold. Well, we're trying here. So if you hear my voice go, I'm trying to hold the cough in. If you've ever tried to hold, it's like impossible to hold a cough in, but we're trying. So it's not over yet. So there's still, and this judge has voted or judged on the side of the Mongols before. And the judge is still reserved in an earlier court filing. The judge has reserved the right to wait. The judge said that he would judge later. He would decide. He would rule later as to whether or not taking the patches was within something you could do within the First Amendment. And he said that before when he ruled against the government. And he said this time it was premature to do that because he wanted to let all this other stuff play out first. And it has not played out to the benefit of the Mongols. It's funny when you get your cup in your hand and you're about to drink, all of a sudden you don't need the water anymore. But as soon as you that's weird. Put it over. That's weird. Now that's weird. Anyway, a hot steam massage by a cute, sweet honey and lots of baby oil fixes all that ails a man. Well, That Mr. Perfect is my kind of guy. Now that Mr. Perfect is perfect. Nice little hot shower and what have you, and a nice steam and some oily hands rubbing all on a brother. Isn't that good? So I could go for that. So anyway, the judge is now going to set another trial date, if he hasn't already, for hearing whether or not and ruling as to whether or not taking these colors is going to be constitutional. And of course, no matter how he rules, he will be what's that word? Appealed. His decision will be appealed, and they'll take it up to higher courts. And one thing is amazing, and you guys need to think about this. The government it has the moolah. The government has the cheese, baby. They're using your tax. They got the money. How much money did Kenneth Starr spend to find sperm on a dress and a Raggedy U cigar? That was an 8-year-long investigation. Crazy money. $30 million or something like that. How much money is Mueller spending? Just money. The government's got it. They got the big bucks. They got the big money. They got the money to go after you, and they will. Mr. Perfect says the judge may actually rule it's a First Amendment issue now that there has been a verdict. Whatever the judge rules, it's going to be overturned. It's going to be appealed. And we will see what goes on. Good evening, Black Dragon. Good evening, chat. Good evening, Black Dragon. Good evening, Big Steen, and I hope you have a good one. So anyway, my good friends, we're gonna see what's gonna happen, and this stuff is terrible. The way that news organizations and Hollywood and the press treat biker clubs. It's just terrible. I have an article here that says 9. What does it say? 9 things. Let me look at this real quick. All right, when I saw it, I just was like, this is crazy. 9 hidden truths of biker clubs, and 8 things that biker clubs will gladly share. This is on Hot Cars Magazine. Hot Cars Magazine. 9 hidden truths of biker clubs. I want to read 9 hidden truths of biker clubs. And 8 things they'll gladly share. So if I'm in a biker club, of the 9 things they have, 8 things I will gladly share with you. So I just pulled this up like yesterday. It says the United States has a love affair from the legends and myths of rebellious acts. Uh-oh. It's taking a turn. Rebellious acts by our founding fathers to the bank robbing capers of Bonnie and Clyde. Uh-oh. Okay. Why do I feel like this isn't going well? To the bad boy tunes of Elvis Presley and the Rolling Stones, who have had quite an affection with motorcycle clubs over the years. Okay, we're getting back to us. The culture in the United States and mass media have led to characters that embody this bad boy attitude. No, they're not. No, they're not. Here they go. Yeah, watch. I know. Watch. I know. Like Jax Teller, the heartthrob from the TV show Sons of Anarchy. Now, I thought we were talking about 9 hidden truths about biker clubs, and the first thing they bring up is the biggest I mean, here we are with Jax Teller and Sons of Anarchy. Oh, boy. Shows like Sons of Anarchy and other fictional dramas have long been the norm for how people learn about the constructs of these biker clubs. Oh, really? Jax Teller is the norm for how people learn about the constructs of biker clubs. At the same time, it seems every motorcycle club around has been portrayed in the news, usually because of some terrible act, like the 2002 incident in Laughlin, Nevada, and they spelled Laughlin wrong. This is going to be interesting. Hopefully my voice will hold through this without coughing too much. And then I cough, of course. But the media and TV shows fail to represent the whole truth. Breath of air, maybe. They fail to report the average everyday activities of motorcycle clubs and the workday lives of their members. With nothing to compare against other than TV, how can people learn what these motorcycle clubs are really like? Hey, this might not be so bad. The biker narrative has largely been controlled over time by outsiders and misconceptions, and it's true that their lives are not all roses, but they often aren't as drastic as we are made to believe. They are regular people with families. They just live a more radical existence outside of societal norms. I'm pretty regular. I live in here are 9 things the public knows about motorcycle clubs and 7 secrets only club members themselves can tell you. So the first thing, they like fighting over territory. They like fighting over territory. And you're just like, oh, what the hell? Despite the romanticized notion of biker clubs on shows like Sons of Anarchy, these are not nice people. They write this stuff. Prejudice against women and minorities is endemic. There are some prejudices in the motorcycle clubs. Jesus, there's prejudices in every society. Now, I'm from Oklahoma. Y'all can't tell me nothing about that. But anyway, prejudices against women. And minorities is endemic. So does the control over large swaths of territory, which bring untold riches. Really? Oh, I want some. We're rich. Like some biker, Tony Montana. The truth is more mundane, Falco says. It's more just fighting over territory to fight over territory. It's about control. Genuine conflicts over territory happen, but those were years ago. They're actually pretty miserable. They just sit around and talk about conflict. And if they didn't go to fight with another club, they just go to fight with each other. Apparently, there hasn't been a real biker conflict in a while. What the hell are these people talking about? Okay. Next thing, the next secret. The Hells Angels consider women as property. Oh, boy. And some of this stuff has some truth in it, just enough truth. just enough truth to, like, they don't even know what the hell a property is. People, the Hells Angels aren't the only ones either. The Hells Angels aren't the only ones either. Most of the prominent biker clubs around the world occasionally sponsor legitimate events to raise money, which is donated to charitable causes, but this is only done to mask their other nefarious illicit enterprises. Individual club members have been arrested in upstate New York, North and South Carolina, Nevada, and California. On the Spanish island of Mallorca, 25 angels were arrested in an operation coordinated by Interpol, German, and Spanish police, in which 30 separate properties were raided and individuals were charged with an array of offenses. I thought this was 9 things we'd love to tell you. Here's the next one. Bottom rockers will do anything for their turf. The bottom rocker is the insignia that runs underneath the logo on the back of a biker's jacket. And of course, this is a Mongols that he has here. It declares the state of the club. It declares the state the club dominates. The club's colors are one of the most brutally enforced disciplines. Only one club can rule a state at a time. So claiming a state donned by another club can cause serious provocation. Former dealer Charles Falco says the Banditos claimed Texas a year ago. They're okay allowing some smaller motorcycle clubs to be there as long as you don't wear a Texas bottom rocker. This seems the polar opposite to the Easy Rider. Dream of bikers as freewheeling incarnations of American liberty, but that's how it goes! Like I say, there's enough truth. They're formed by veterans. The creation of the original clubs were made by veterans. That's not true. The creation of the original motorcycle clubs were not made by veterans. Where did they come up with this stuff? The creation of the original motorcycle clubs were made up of veterans of World War II. Motorcycles were around since the 1800s, so that doesn't mathematically add up. But the next generation was maintained by Vietnam vets, and now the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan have brought the newest generation to the motorcycle club fold. Falco says, when I infiltrated the Vagos in California, half of my chapter was ex-Marines. These guys were tightly trained veterans. They don't represent the normal military person either. They were probably antisocial before joining, and they enjoyed fighting. They came out of the military to seek battle again, and biker clubs are good outlets to do that with, Falco said. Oh, boy. There is a shared mutual respect among clubs. Every time you think you're going to read something good, they destroy it. The biker code is such that if a biker of whatever race club sees another one broken down on the side of the road, they stop them. That's a good one. That doesn't play well with the tough guy attitude, and they say, but that's what Big Bear, one of the Outcast members of the Alabama chapter, told Shadow.com, regardless of the segregation that exists within the world at large and within the biker world, the code of the biker trumps all of these barriers. That's a good one. Okay. And it just goes on and on. Here's one. They make it hard for emergency personnel to do their jobs. In an essay on the one percenter culture for emergency department personnel to consider, you gotta just, please forgive me. The writers claim that because of their culture and solidarity, various aspects of motorcycle clubs make it difficult for health professionals to do their jobs. When one of the bikers is injured, the essay claims the arrival of an injured club member should cause emergency department personnel to become more vigilant for violent outbursts. If a club member perceives disrespect from anyone, including the emergency room staff, the outcome can be deadly, as club members have an overreaching requirement for respect and for saving face in all encounters and from every individual with whom they come in contact. So some poor nurse reads this crap, and or one of my brothers is in the hospital, and the nurse is shaking. Can I help you? Please don't. What are you doing? What? Don't do that. Do not do that. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? I don't want you to, please don't hurt me. Can you just take care of my buddy? This is crazy. So, it goes on and on. They are a global nuisance. The bond of loyalty has diminished since 2009. And here we go with this Falco guy some more. They're a global nuisance. Hell's Angels regularly sue for copyright infringement. Well, wouldn't you if somebody infringed on your copyright? Anyway, there are so many, half-truths in this thing, and this is some of what we're up against. The clubs are highly structured. They seem romanticized, but don't let that fool you. I mean, this is just terrible. And it's more than 9 things, by the way. Now, here's a real one. The government uses loopholes to indict biker club members. Back in 2012, the federal government used the RICO Act, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, to organize and imprison Peter Soto, a former leader of the Mongols Motorcycle Club. Soto admitted to frequently possessing firearms, conducting Mongol meets, and participating in acts of violence, as well as dealing. He was sentenced to 6 years in jail. In 2015, the federal prosecutors attempted to seize control of the Mongols' trademarks. Well, they finished that up in 2019, buddy. So you can add that to your pack of garbage. They were able to get an indictment under RICO, blah, 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 blah. Charity work is only done to offset the negative image. One of the biggest distinctions between motorcycle clubs and gangs is evidence to philanthropy. It just goes on and on. But that's what you're up against. That's what you're up against when you go out there and you show your booty. That's what you're up against. You're up against people that hear that and think about that. People who hear that and feel like that stuff is true. And those people are the people in your jury box. And there are 2 places where citizens can get at you. And it ain't in the street, and it ain't in a barroom ball. It's in the ballot box, and it's in the jury box. Those are the two places they can get at you. Somebody says that's not true. That's not a true statement. My daughter didn't threaten their power back in June 10, 2018, and a cop damn near killed her over her and a neighbor's verbal dispute. I hope that she's okay, Evil. Hope that didn't really affect her too bad. So, I tell you guys this. It's going to be tough for a few years for us. There's some dark days ahead for bikers. And the biggest thing that you want to keep in mind is not to be out there showing your booty. Best thing that you can do is understand that it's getting coordinated, and it's getting coordinated around the world. It's getting coordinated around the world. They're doing this in New Zealand and in the UK, and they're doing this over in Australia. As a matter of fact, they got the bikie clubs. They call them bikies over there. They got the bikie clubs. They don't call them bikers. They call them bikies, which to me is kind of like, don't call me a bikie. But I guess over there, it's like, yeah, I'm a bikie. Don't get it twisted. So they got those guys all but wrapped up, man. They got stuff those guys can't even. They figured out, like, okay, most bikies are tattoo artists and own garages and stuff. So they made it against the law. If you are in a motorcycle club, you can't even be a tattoo artist. They like took your jobs. It's ugly. And it comes from fear, and it comes from intimidation, and it comes from craziness, and it comes from the fact that it sells papers, baby. It sells papers and it sells advertisement to talk about you guys. Good morning, Helene. It sells papers and it sells advertising, and it makes good damn money. You guys are good money. You're good to talk about. Every time somebody says Hell's Angel, I tell you what, the ratings just go off of the thing. And Hell's Angels are like Coke. Like, you know, can I have a Coke? And you want a grape knee-high, but you'll call it a Coke. They're synonymous. There goes that Hell's Angel over there. He's not Hell's Angels. They do that. And so if they can't call you that, they want to affix that to you. Are you guys as tough as the Hell's Angels? No, we're not tough. Not tough at all. Someone says, anyone who mentions 81 immediately when talking about bikers betrays a lack of understanding regarding the community at large. Well, but they don't understand the community at large. And we have to be vigilant about getting the public to understanding. Only true MC in New Zealand is HA. Most started as a gang, then turned MC. Man, I just saw a special on New Zealand where these gang members were making sandwiches and feeding the children, and that was just absolutely incredible. How these guys, and they wear these vests. They look just like bikers, but they don't ride motorcycles. But they look just like bike. They got the whole vest and everything, and they throw their hands up with some sort of a really interesting salute, like like they I thought it was kind of, masculine. Ah! And they throw their hands up at each other. This kind of salute, like, but it's a warrior salute though. Don't get it twisted. It's the real thing out here. It's a power. Ah! If you ever see them guys get ready to what's that one tribe that before they play soccer or football, as some of you guys call it, they have this like this chant. Woo! They make these faces. And their tongues are all pointed. They have tattoos on their tongues. You don't want to wrestle with those guys. Not me. I'm old at 55. I don't want to wrestle with those. Oh, Maori. That's who they are. Thank you. See, Mr. Perfect's the right guy. The Maori. It's rugby, somebody said. Not soccer, idiot. Yeah, okay. Rugby. Never understood that game either. Running around in big circles. Like, who do you tackle? Like, I don't even get that game. How do you get a point? But anyway, it's tough out there. It's tough out there. Boy, I've been going on here, droning on for about an hour. I'm really, really upset that you guys don't get to. I wanted you guys to call in on the phone, and but the only problem is those of you guys who are watching wouldn't be able to hear the guys on the phone. I've got to get a better, bigger one of these boards. What do you call these? Mixing boards. I got to get another channel in on my mixing board. So I will have that in about a week or so. And then I'll be able to broadcast live here while doing the podcast live. So those of you who want to watch me on YouTube will be able to watch me on YouTube. And those of you who want to do the podcast can listen on the podcast. Please send my respects to Merlin. Actually, Merlin is on the line. Yeah, but they can't hear you, so they can't. Merlin's talking right now, so you guys have to play back the. That's why I didn't call on you. They can't hear you, man. Merlin and Mama Rowe are on for 57 minutes. They've been on just to listening. But anyway, Mr. Perfect says to give your respects to him. Mr. Perfect says you're a great guy. Are you guys watching, Merlin? Oh, okay, Mr. I have not seen you type anything. Ah, okay. I'm sorry. They can't hear you, so I'm just talking to myself, or I'm looking crazy. Uh, no, no, no. The Banditos came from the rebels, actually. I think. But we'll talk. We'll talk about. I mean, no one can hear you. Like, so the Bikie Wars is about Australia. So Merlin says that the first motorcycle club in Australia was the Comancheros. I don't know this. I haven't done any independent verification. So this is Merlin. Even though I'm saying it, I don't know. Merlin said it. So this is Merlin. And he says then the Banditos came from the Comancheros. But I saw something different that said the Banditos came from the rebels. Or maybe it was just a chapter or whatever. But that's something I saw. But hey, we're gonna do a lot of stuff on this Australia thing, because I think it's really important, because I think that American laws can quickly go there. I believe American laws can go there. Let's see. Roger says this is how it starts with attacking motorcycle clubs through legal power. Motorcycle clubs are not allowed to wear the colors. Then it's going to be making motorcycle clubs completely illegal. Mace Maji says, why does mankind risk their soul for a bit of fun? Hell is a real and choice. Oh, uh-oh. Hell is real. And choices made in life align to it. Evil reaps evil, and no one can escape the universe's laws. People think death is the end. They lack wisdom. Good morning, Black Dragon. Much love and respect. Evil, take care, my buddy. Roger thing is they can only do that when you give them the reason to. When you got to get them out doing random dumb crimes, it brings everything about. Uh, let's see. Who is NZ Bikers? Someone said I was told the rebels started out of the Confederates. Could be. Bikey Wars on YouTube, says Mama Ro. Oh, NZ Bikers. New Zealand. Okay, NZ. New Zealand's bikers started in the 60s to the 70s. And all this violence, murder, torture. Oh, here we go. So Mad says all this violence, murder, torture, you reap it in death. Nobody's talking about that here, man. Going on with that. Who cares if everyone came? Who cares if everyone came for me? I saved the patches. So anyway, uh, I'm really excited and thankful that you guys have tuned in. I've had you guys on here for an hour, which is an hour and a few minutes, which is way longer than I probably should have kept you. But this is the podcast, so on the podcast we can talk, because that's what podcasts do. I definitely appreciate you guys. Listen, my books, Prospects Bible. Um, so someone, super glad. I don't know if that would be worldwide. No, I mean, I do know. If you take the patch in the United States courts only have jurisdiction over the United States. So, no, they won't be able to take people's patches worldwide. However, it won't be long before other motorcycle or other countries start to follow suit. For instance, we know that Australia has taken a lot of our RICO laws and applied them in their own countries. Another thing that I saw, interestingly enough, here recently was that an American, uh, I believe it was, well, it was one of the top five 1% clubs. An American goes over there with his colors and everything, and he gets off of the airplane only to walk right into police custody, and they took his butt and put him right back on the next plane flying out. So, yeah, these things can get a little bit international, if you will. Good morning, Celtic Knights Riding Club. So, um, no few in Colorado, but best bud in the Navy and a few. Uh, so, Black Dragon, if you really want to do podcasts or live streams where you can actually talk to your audience, I suggest doing podcasts and live streams on YouNow once in a while. Just an idea. Well, I'm going to check out YouNow. I've never heard of it before. I'm going to check it out because I'd rather have a solution they already made than to put one together myself. But this is my first. Listen here, folks. 2.5 years ago, I was just walking with a microphone in the snow, just talking. So all of this is one heck of a. All of this is one heck of a start. So anyway, we appreciate. Say again. So we are getting ready to log out of here. If you guys see me just listening to the midair, that's because folks are talking to me in my ear. So once again, my books, Prospects Bible for Women's Motorcycle Clubs, the Rogue Captain, the Sergeant at Arms Bible, and the Public Relations Officer's Bible are all available on Amazon and Kindle. And my podcast, The Dragon's Lair Motorcycle Chaos, will be available on Mondays and Fridays. And on Saturday, we have a little something that is being played over in Insane Throttle's channel over there on the Motorcycle Madhouse, that you can get him on iHeartRadio on Saturdays. And he's actually playing three of us back-to-back, three content creators back-to-back on Saturdays. So once again, we definitely appreciate you. President's Bible, that will be out. I'm trying to say before March, sometime in February. That's what I think we've got listed for that. So anyway, I definitely appreciate you. Somebody says, Black Dragon, do you practice martial arts? I do. Have been for about 50 years. What else? I think that's it. So let us know what you think. Give me your comments in the comment section, and let us know what you think about this podcast. And we're going to keep on finding out about what's going on with the Mongols. We're going to keep that that moving and keep that information coming for you. And we got a whole lot more coming with the Black Dragon Biker News Network, biker news you can trust. The podcast, Dragon's Lair, Motorcycle Chaos, and of course, Ask Black Dragon, which will be our Ask Black Dragon series for Motorcycle Protocol and the Motorcycle Protocol Learning Series. So we got a whole lot for you guys this year, and we're hoping you're having a good time and a good new year. Good morning to Laynard, Kansas. Thanks for tuning in so late. And good night, Mr. Perfect out there. We certainly definitely appreciate you all. That's my 2 cents. Thanks for tuning in, and get skinny.